So there are a few words that I'm able to pronounce, and the subject of this next video is one of those words that I have a hard time pronouncing, and I don't know why. My name is Damon with Complete. I want to thank you for rocking with me one more time. Today I'm doing another reaction video. This one is wedding photography horror. So there are a few words that I'm able to pronounce, and the subject of this next video is one of those words that I have a hard time pronouncing, and I don't know why, and that is horror story. So wedding photography horror stories. It feels like I'm just saying horror. I don't know. It just feels weird to me. But Joy Michelle Photography has some horror stories that she's going to be sharing with us, and I am going to be reacting to her stories. And it says, after 7 years of shooting weddings, Joy has seen and experienced some pretty wild things. So these are her wedding photography horror stories. 3 of her most embarrassing and cringe-worthy moments. And here we go. By the way, I didn't just pull up her video and like, oh, here's a video, horror stories, that's fine. I lightweight stalked. I would say like full on cringe stalking.
Okay, maybe a little bit, but in a good way.
Checked out her work, and she definitely does some amazing work. So it's not just, she has a video out about some horror stories. She also is a very good wedding photographer.
I will start with one of my first weddings that I ever photographed.
It's always one of the first. Usually it is some of the craziest things that could possibly happen when you are inexperienced. I don't know why that is. I don't know why the universe just kind of brings it out like that, but a lot of the craziest moments happen when you're not as experienced, and then you think, does it always go down like this? I don't know. And then the more that you do weddings, like, hey, how come no other brides and grooms got in a fist fight? It was only that one.
Watching all the videos, I was following, Jasmine Star and the greats, right? And I thought, I'm ready. I know exactly what I'm gonna do. So I walk out on the front porch. I start setting up some details. I've got rings and a veil and things like that.
Please don't tell me the wind
I'm setting everything up,
tell me.
and it's like April.
Oh no.
And it's really, really windy.
Oh no.
And I don't think I connected that.
Oh no.
And so this huge gust of wind comes, and the veil is just gone. Like the veil just goes. I'm sitting there holding the rings because I knew the rings were like the most important thing.
Yeah.
So I'm holding the rings. The gust of wind is like my hair's everywhere. And I'm just like, I can't move because I'm on a deck, and there's slats in the deck where the ring could like disappear forever. Thankfully, someone who worked there saw me struggling, catches the veil, brings it over, and says like, do you need this? Can I help you?
Do you want me to get rid of all the mud and leaves off of this veil for you, or what do you plan on doing with this?
So embarrassed. I was literally so embarrassed. I was like, yes, clearly I need help. So that was not the greatest start to that wedding. That was the same wedding where I tried to do off-camera flash and it didn't go, didn't work, never got it to work. Super frustrating, right? When your gear doesn't work. Still worked out. Clients were still, thankfully, so happy with their pictures. But honestly, when I think about that wedding day, all I can think is that I almost lost the veil. It's just embarrassing. That's all I can say. Next story, okay? This is awful. What happened was I had my gear in my rolling case, and it was laying down, but the case wasn't latched. And someone picked it up, and my 24-70 went flying across like a concrete ground. So I like died a little on the inside, and I thought, okay, it's insured, it's okay. So I get it, seems to be working okay. Fast forward to the next weekend. I'm shooting a wedding. Bride and groom have just been pronounced husband and wife. They kiss, they turn around, everyone is so excited. They start walking towards me, and I have the 24 to 70 on my camera, of course.
Of course you do.
And I'm zoomed in because I wanted to get the kiss. And I go to zoom back out, and it sounds like there's like sand or like gravel or something inside of my camera. Like we're stuck at 70 millimeters. So I can't zoom out and I can't get a wide shot. I shoot, I do my best. I'm like internally panicking, but I'm getting images. I have my other camera body, but I only have a 50 millimeter on that one, so I can't get a wide shot.
You can't get a wide at all.
I'm like, okay, what does my second shooter have? I go to my second shooter, I say, how wide is your widest lens? Because I
50?
now only have a 50 to shoot family formals, group shots, and all of the reception. And she says, a 50 millimeter.
I told you, I said 50.
So between the two of us, the widest thing we own is a 50 millimeter.
Right.
And so that's what we had to work with for all the family pictures, the bridal party pictures, and the rest of the day.
Keep going back.
And I think it was from the lens falling out of the case the week before. Although it seemed like it survived, it did not survive. So that lens got kicked off my team, sold it, actually repaired it, then sold it to like B&H or something, which I told them it was broken at one point. And then I got a new one. And then I got a backup 35 millimeter because I wanted something wider. And I've basically been overpacking out of fear for that happening again ever since.
Multiple lenses. Our photographers that go out, multiple bodies, multiple lenses. We cover from 35 to 150. So whatever's in your lens kit, and it can't just be one lens because obviously you have multiple bodies, but whatever's in your lens kit, definitely want to cover from 35 to 150 when we're shooting weddings, but that's just our standards. They can go wider. They can get a 24. They can get a 200 if you're in a cathedral, or 300 or whatever. If you really want to go way back on the other side of a stadium or whatever, then you're able to do that. But your lens kit should have that. And my question is, yes, it sounded like there was gravel in it. But the difference between I'm just curious, Joy. So please just humor me. Were you able to zoom back out at all? I know it sounded like it had gravel in it, but if you gave it just a little bit of, would it have moved so you can get it back to 24 and then you leave it stuck at 24 so that we have a 24 and a 50? I'm just curious about that. So maybe I'll put it in your comment and then link my video as well so you can see my video.
Look at me now.
Once it happens, you have like trauma from it. It's crazy. So my third and final story is actually something that happened to someone else at a wedding I was photographing. Really gorgeous day. Bride had gotten ready, had a huge bridal party. She wanted to do a reveal to her bridal party and show them the dress and her finished look. And she just looked like a princess. She looked incredible.
So in case you're wondering, there are some people that aren't familiar with that. There are first looks where the groom sees the bride for the first time in kind of a controlled environment with just the two of them. So the groom typically taps the bride typically taps the groom on the shoulder. He turns around and sees her in the gown, and he's like,
"Oh my God, you're the most gorgeous person ever. And this day you're even more gorgeous."
Whatever he says as groom who sees his bride for the first time. And then there are other first looks or reveals. So this one, it sounds like, is a reveal with the bridal party or the bridesmaids, where the bride gets dressed in a controlled environment so nobody sees her, and then all the bridesmaids, possibly mother of the bride, they're all in another room, and then we get them all organized in one spot. And I'll probably put like a photo so you can kind of see what I'm talking about, so it makes more sense than just me just blah blah blah. And then all of a sudden the bride stands on one side, and everyone has their back turned, and then they all turn around, and usually it is waterworks. They're loving the gown, they're loving the bride, the way the bride looks in the gown, and it's just tears and
happiness and clapping and gasping and oh my God, and this thing. I
still don't understand what this is. Like, does this actually work? Ladies, I'm curious, does this work? Like, when you do this, does this actually dry tears? Or is this just signifying that I'm crying? I'm not sure. So let me know about that. Anyway, so that's usually what happens. And so she's talking about a reveal with the bridesmaids and the bride.
So we're all waiting, and I was trying to figure out what lens to use, thinking through the day.
Use the 24 to 70. Sorry. Too soon? I'm sorry. Is it too soon, Joy? I'm sorry.
And and she comes to the top of the steps. I don't know what happened, but she fell. It was like slow motion, like like the whole way down.
Wow.
I thought she was gonna be like unable to walk or something after this, because it was a huge steep wooden staircase at a home that they had rented. It was so bad. I was so embarrassed for her.
Did you get it on video?
It was a tense moment. I can't even remember if I took pictures. I think I might have. Those are those moments where like you take pictures and you're like, I'm gonna see how the rest of the day goes, and then I'll decide whether or not to deliver those pictures. Because if they don't talk about it and it was not cool, we just don't deliver it. But if we think it's funny, then we deliver it, right? So anyway, those are just 3 of the crazy things that happened.
Hold on, wait, what happened? Which one did you do? We gotta know. Did you give her the falling down the stairs pictures, or did you not? Did you not mention it? What happened? You can't just leave me hanging like that. It's a cliffhanger.
I know you guys have the best stories. Please share one crazy thing that you've experienced. Maybe it was a nightmare, maybe it's just something funny at a wedding that you've either been the photographer at or just attended.
I am not going to share my craziest because I don't think that it is appropriate for YouTube. We'll just say it like that. I don't want to put any more out there, but yeah, there's been some stuff that's happened. Crazy. But anyway, I do want to share, because you were talking about gear, and this actually happened recently. Today is August 28th or 27th. What is today? Today is August 27th. So today is August 27, 2022. On July 7th, so recently, a little over a month ago, we had 2 videographers on site. And so since we had 2 videographers on site, what we decided to do was have one of the videographers arrive early to capture some drone footage. They have the drone in the air, and then it's a DJI Mavic Air 2, I believe is what they were flying with the smart controller. And with the smart controller, one of the cooler parts about it is you can actually record on the controller as well as in the drone, which comes in a little bit later. So the videographer is flying the drone, and this is my impression of the videographer flying the drone. And then all of a sudden the screen goes black and white. Anybody who has a smart controller or anybody who has a DJI drone, that means that the drone has disconnected to the controller. So you are not controlling this thing anymore. It's just in the air doing whatever. Usually that's not a good thing. Usually you want to actually control a drone. When it's disconnected, then there is a return to home feature. Typically goes high altitude so that it doesn't crash into anything, and then flies to where the latitude of where it took off, and then descends, which means it starts to land. That ain't what happened this time. We still don't know where that drone is. And it's been over a month and I guess 20 days now. And it's gone. We have the last shot that was ever taken with this drone and this controller. And it shows we were getting B-roll of the building. So it shows the building nice and pretty. And then all of a sudden it stops. And that is the last that we saw of that drone. And that's the last footage that we received from that drone. So I just want to, for the Mavic Air 2 that gave his life to complete. Anybody in the Sunny Isles area that found a Mavic Air 2 in the sand, in an abandoned building, in a parking lot, and you don't know who it belongs to?
This guy!
It doesn't work if you don't put your thumb up. Thank you.
So if you can look in my description and get my number, my email address, and hit me up, we'll reward that. I think that's one of the other words that I have a hard time saying reward. Oh, that's not bad. So there is a reward for you if you can help a brother out. I am going to end the video now. Thank you for rocking with me one more time. Go down in the description and check out Joy Michelle Photography's YouTube channel. There's a lot of great content on there. I'm going to be reacting to some more of her stuff. I'm going to be watching a ton of her stuff as well. And I am going to also make a lot of videos, some educational, some fun, some more reactions. My name is Damon with Complete, and I will see you on the next one.